haven't already watched the mutual fund video, make sure you watch the mutual fund video first before you watch the exchange traded fund video. In the mutual fund video, you're going to learn about things like turnover and yield. Both concepts are very important when referencing exchange traded funds. I'm not going to talk about those concepts again here because they're well said in the mutual fund video. Exchange traded funds work very similar to mutual funds. They give you instant diversification. When you buy a share of an ETF, exchange traded fund, an ETF, when you buy a share of that, it's very, very similar to buying a share of a mutual fund. You buy a share and you get instant diversification amongst all the underlying holdings inside the fund, whether it's ETF, mutual fund. In the mutual fund video, you learned that mutual funds strike an NAV price at the end of every business day, and therefore shares can only be traded at the end of a day. ETFs trade like a stock. So a stock fluctuates every second of every day. Every time it's bought or sold, a new price is created at whatever that last price was. Just a giant auction. An ETF trades every day, I should say trades intraday, every second of every day. Therefore, you can buy and sell an ETF anytime throughout the day. So it's basically just a mutual fund packaged like a stock that trades on a stock exchange. So a mutual fund is a fund of stocks. An ETF is a stock that owns stocks. So it's a stock of stocks. I know it's complicated, but that's really in premise what it is. They trade every day. So why own an ETF versus a mutual fund? The nice thing about ETFs is you can get very, very laser beam specific about what you want to own. So if you only want to own mineral companies or gold mining companies or large cap value Indonesia companies, you can get very, very, very specific in what you want to own or have exposure to. Much more precise than you can oftentimes with a mutual fund. Now nowadays there are plenty of mutual funds that do get pretty specific, but some of these ETFs get very, very specific. And when you Google list of ETFs and you go to the sector funds, you'll see just how specific they can get. You can get broad ETFs, large cap value, mid cap growth, you name it, you can get it. But you can also get very specific. Now, nice thing about ETFs is the turnover is extremely, extremely low. The mutual fund portion, you learned what turnover was. When you're dealing with taxable money and you want diversification, ETFs can be a very popular place to turn for very low turnover. Often ETFs are unmanaged, and because they're unmanaged, there's very little buying and selling, therefore very little turnover, and therefore very little, if any, capital gain exposure. Now, as the industry evolves, you will find that some ETFs are a little more actively managed than others, but in general, low turnover. So again, ETFs, they trade like a stock. You can buy and sell them anytime throughout the day. They allow instant diversification. They can allow for very precise categories of investments, very precise sector funds. They have relatively low turnover, and they also have relatively low internal expenses. Go to the website, go to Google, research ETFs. There's dozens of companies that offer them, and there's dozens of ETFs inside all those companies. Research them, get to know them, learn the websites, and you'll become a better advisor because of it.